अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाज़रीन, प्रोग्राम में खुश आमदीद। आज हमारे पास एक बड़े डिस्टिंग्विश्ड मेहमान हैं जिनका तारुफ करवाने से पहले हम आपको ये बता दें कि पाकिस्तान को अगर दुनिया के मामलात से सीखना है तो इर्द गिर्द के हालात पर तवज्जो देनी होगी, लेकिन सीखने और तवज्जो देने के लिए हमें अपने फौरी मामलात से कुछ देर के लिए आंख उठानी पड़ेगी, जो हमें ज़ाहिरन मुश्किल लगता है लेकिन बहुत ज़रूरी भी है। दुनिया में क्या हो रहा है, अमेरिका और ईरान के ताल्लुकात किस तरफ जा रहे हैं, मशरिक़ वुस्ता के हालात किस तरह तब्दील हो रहे हैं, और अगर अफगानिस्तान के अंदर मामलात को दुरुस्त होना है जिसके साथ हमारा बॉर्डर का मामला जुड़ा हुआ है, तो कौन कौन सा मुल्क बहुत अहम किरदार अदा कर पाएगा। ईरान का नाम इन ममालिक में से एक मुल्क है जिसके एक बहुत डिस्टिंग्विश्ड नुमाइंदा हमारे पास मौजूद हैं, डॉक्टर मुस्तफ़ा ज़हरानी, जो डायरेक्टर जनरल है ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूट फॉर पॉलिटिकल एंड इंटरनेशनल स्टडीज। इनसे हम बात करेंगे चंद एक मौज़ूआत पर जो आपके लिए भी दिलचस्पी का बायस है और बराह रास्त पाकिस्तान के ऊपर असरअंदाज भी होते हैं। डॉक्टर ज़हरानी, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस।
थैंक यू।
Good to have you here. Let me, there are many things that would interest the people of Pakistan, but let me start with the one that comes to my mind readily. The US-Iran engagement. We've read analysis of it. I want to hear it from you. Is it a breakthrough? Is it a groundbreaking development? Or is it just a little interregnum arrangement that has transpired? So what's your take on it?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I'm very happy to talk with our sisters and brothers in Pakistan. Concerning your question, I should say that the problem between Iran and US is a profound one and long-standing somehow war. This war has been imposed by Americans on Iranian people. Even the current situation, I mean the economic sanction which is imposed on Iranian people, it is a type of war. It is really a war for all aspects of the life of Iranian people. They have not, of course, succeeded. It is pressure, but the Iranian people have shown that under the pressure will not, agree to what they say.
So what do they say? What do they say?
The American demands really, they have fundamental difference with our revolution. They see the Iranian revolution as something which has contradicted the sovereignty of Americans. And that is the case. Before Iranian revolution, Americans thought that they can do whatever they want, they can say whatever they say, and everybody should obey. Iranian revolution proved that is not the case. Iranian revolution proved that is not only armament which can say. It is the power of religion, it is the power of belief system, it is the power of idea, which is very important. And in fact, our revolution is a revolution of idea, a revolution of word, is a revolution of kalam. That's what they cannot understand.
So after 1979, where has the Iranian revolution affected American policy? I mean, they have done pretty much what they wanted to do. They have been toppling governments, they have been intervening, they have been sanctioning, they have been propping up regimes, like all superpowers would do, if you were to pick up history. So where has the American conduct changed in your view?
First of all, they did not like our revolution to remain. That revolution continues and still continue. They did not like, the people of Iran, the country to be together. That did not happen. They like to say whatever they want to different people. That is, the Iranian people proved that this is not the case. What they wanted to Iranian people not to be independent, not to stand on their own foot. We have proved that it is not the case. 8 years of the war between Iran and Iraq was with the support of Americans, not only Americans, Soviet Union of that time and all the other powers there. And we were alone. We fought on our own foot, with the help of religion, with the help of Islam and Quran. And we succeeded to maintain our territorial integrity, so that was a success.
So the fact that their design, as you call it, was unsuccessful proves that the revolution has been successful. Okay, fast track, bring it to the current nuclear understanding. What is this current nuclear understanding?
This nuclear understanding, first of all, there are some assumption, fundamental assumption. Based on our belief, we do not want a bomb. As the security, national security involves and a strategy, Iranian revolution shows that we do not need that type of the war, that type of, the gun. Which
the weapon. You don't need the weapon.
We do not need nuclear weapon. Why? Because the system is entirely based on their people. As long as you have the people with the system, completely, then this means that you have all the weapons in your hand. If we have succeeded against American policies in last 33 years, is because the people have been always there, and the people are wise, the people are with the system, the people, they know why they have a revolution, the people do know why they have to stand there on their own foot, they understand fully the meaning of independence. Iranian people are not the people to fight, they are not the people to go to war with different peoples, but they want to be their own country. They are very proud people. Iran is the first who has the nation state in the world.
So you don't need a nuclear device.
First of all, yes.
You don't need a nuclear device. So what is this nuclear program all about then?
We do not need nuclear device, but we do need the technology. Iranian people need the technology because nuclear technology is good for many things, including the bomb, but we do not want a bomb. So Iranian people have been, courage enough, have been wise enough to innovate technologically to that point. We wanted, since they have sanctioned us in all aspects, so including, in the Shah's time, they had many programs for Iranian nuclear technology and also nuclear facilities. But after revolution, they stopped everything. After revolution, we were sanctioned on all aspects, even in the war between Iran and Iraq. So some of the things which were very essential, sanctioned for us. So Iranian people decided that they should have their own technological knowledge in the nuclear field. And we have succeeded that. The point is...
Forgive my ignorance. On this point, it's a very important point that you raise. And I genuinely believe, and I say forgive my ignorance, there are only two ways nuclear technology becomes relevant. One is for what we call peaceful purposes, basically to empower your economy, to light up your residences, to fuel the wheels of growth. Iran is self-sufficient when it comes to that kind of energy. In fact, Iran supplies other countries. So the peaceful purposes, as far as nuclear technology is concerned, really is not the core requirement. You don't need the bomb either. So why have this technology to begin with?
No, you see, first of all, you should understand Iranian technological innovations, all of it, in the context of sustainable development. For sustainable development, the fissile, energy resources is not enough. The nuclear source of energy, clean energy, is very important for Iran, and also for medicine and so many other aspects of the life of the people. This is very, very important and necessary. So it's very much peaceful and very much necessary. We want to have it.
You want to have it for peaceful purposes?
Of course.
And then why the international community and some of the watchdog bodies, right or wrong, I'm not going to go into the factual of it, but they have made it part and parcel of the record, suggest that the military component of Iranian nuclear program has been expanding considerably. Are these reports not factual? Are they wrong? Are they part of American propaganda? And if so, if they are, why then engage with the US in terms of stopping what? I mean, what did Iran agree to in this agreement? To stop what? If everything was properly and legally done?
I'm coming from Germany in Munich conference. There it was American congressman, American senator, they talk about Iranian deceiving the world in their nuclear technology in last 30 years. I told this is a cliche. That's not the right excuse to pressure Iranian people. That is not the right excuse to, to have all these sanctions against Iranian people. You should bring some other logic. So he went to say, okay, you have made a revolution, Iranian people have seized American embassy, and all the other issues. So what I'm saying is that the context is important. The context is that Iran and US have been in some type, at least some type of Cold War. In a Cold War atmosphere, everything is looked to be suspicious, and that's very important factor. When two people think each other as enemy, whatever you do, even what you do is positive.
Misreading each other's intentions and actions as well.
Misreading, misinterpreting, and miscalculating each other. And for Americans, especially after 9/11, I refer you to what Rumsfeld said. He said, as long as you see the enemy, you should assume that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. What does it mean? It means if you think yourself that Iran is going for a bomb, even if Hanspelik and IAEA come and do not find evidence, this doesn't mean that Iranians do not have bomb. You should assume that they have a bomb.
A typical Cold War mentality, Rumsfeld was famous for.
This is the type of mentality. In this type of mentality, whatever you do, then they say, no, that's not the case.
Okay, let me take a break here. And when we come back after the break, Dr. Zahrani, we are going to continue this. So are we saying then, let me leave the question on the table, and as I get into the break, that Cold War phase of misreading each other's intention is over? Has death set in between Tehran and Washington, and then from there we move to the Gulf? नाज़रीन, हमारे पास डॉक्टर ज़हरानी मौजूद हैं और उन मामलात की बात कर रहे हैं जिनका बराह रास्त ताल्लुक ईरान से तो है ही, लेकिन पाकिस्तान की सलामती से मुतल्लिक भी है. स्टे ट्यून्ड. प्रोग्राम में खुशामदीद नाज़रीन. हमारे पास मौजूद हैं डॉक्टर ज़हरानी, जो डायरेक्टर जनरल है इंस्टीट्यूट फॉर पॉलिटिकल इंटरनेशनल स्टडीज़. ईरान से इनका ताल्लुक है और साहिब किताब भी हैं और अहम तरीन मामलात के ऊपर हमारे साथ बात कर रहे हैं. सो डॉक्टर ज़हरानी, माय क्वेश्चन रिमेन्स, हैज अ थॉ set in between Washington and Tehran? Can we see that both are now not becoming friends but trying to understand each other better?
First of all, it is important to understand that we are dealing on nuclear issue with American right now, not anything more. The good point is that you should look at the angle of Americans, Obama administration. Obama has some success domestically, but in foreign policy he has not have any success. So for them, for his administration, if there is a success on nuclear issue, that is a win game for him. And it is his second term. Since it is in his second term, it's not really liability if he comes with Iran and tries to roll back the sanctions. So if he rolls back the sanctions, for us also we can see, because this is nothing new on Iranian side. First of all, their sanction has not been effective. Let's say at the nuclear technology, when they took us to UN 14, and when they began the sanction to stop our nuclear technology, we had only about 1,000 centrifuges, maybe less than that. Now after the sanction, after all years of the sanctions, we do have thousands of these centrifuges. So it means they have not stopped our nuclear technology that they claim that they are pushing for stopping Iranian nuclear technology, and we have gone there. So we have come to.
So it's a unilateral agreement. Dr. Zahrani, many people would subscribe to your point of view, but there are others who would say that this is not how global political engagement takes place. Washington, Obama, yes, maybe looking for a big foreign policy breakthrough. But wouldn't simply concede a rolling back policy on Iran for nothing? What does US get out of this? What did Iran agree to? That's the big question that is being debated here in Pakistan. So what did Tehran symbolically agree to doing, which prompted Washington to stay with this engagement?
No, the only thing that we said, okay, what we are doing, you can come and check everything is peaceful.
Verify.
Verify what you said. One thing we said, okay, we do not go further than 20% of enrichment. We stop, let's say, at 5% enrichment. This is what we have had in mind in the past, because we do not want to go to nuclear. We want for peaceful. You know, what we wanted is that we didn't want to someday when we need our nuclear program some of the fuel, then they stop it, they say, okay, no, we cannot do it. We have reached to that point. That's all what we wanted and we got.
Okay, now let's also touch on the Middle East and the Gulf region. West Asia, as we've had long debates on this, so I'll stick to the terminology that people can relate to, not that I necessarily subscribe to this. Is it a coincidence that when the deterioration between Riyadh and Washington is perceptible, Saudi Arabia and American ties are not as they used to be, Iranian and US ties seem to be improving? Could it be that Washington is trying to somehow compensate for its bad relations with Saudi Arabia with good relations with Iran? Is that the matrix? Because they look at the entire picture. Do you see the connection, or do you think they are totally different things?
No, that is a totally different thing. I believe they have found out that Iran remains there. They have found out that pressure against Iran does not work. They have found out that in so many corners they have problem in Afghanistan, in Syria, in Iraq, and every places. And Iran is the #1 player which can help, you know. That has nothing to do really with at least our relation and Saudis. They might have their own relation, you know, bad or good. I'm not going to comment on that. But Iran is there. So I think Americans have come to see that, okay, if they look at the large picture, you know, pressuring Iran is useless. Instead, if they try to cooperate with Iran, they might get some point of cooperation on different places.
Okay, they may have concluded, but the Israelis have not. Israelis may still attempt something foolish. Do you think that is still a possibility on the horizon, or no?
We really don't care. Absolutely. We do know that Israelis are not that foolish to do something stupid, because you know, in recent years, Iran has proved that Israelis cannot do. And whatever Israelis might do, it really backfires. And they fully understand that.
There will be reaction. There will be reaction, bound to be, because Iranian, you know, your foreign ministry has said it a number of times. But leaving that aside, let's talk about Iran's relations with Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
How do you characterize these relations? Are they friendly, non-friendly, cold, hostile, inimical? What are they?
You know, first of all, we are two neighbors together. We are both Muslim countries. For us, Mecca, Medina is very vital, is very important. Hajj is fundamental issue in our belief, which all of us have to go to there, and plus, no one in Iran wants really a hostile relation with Saudi. There is no way. Why should we have such a relation? Of course, it is not friendly right now because of some misperception. But misperception is very much really easy to overcome. And I think sooner or later, there will be a will on both sides to sit together, assuming that there isn't a problem, to solve it, and we'll do it.
Well, that's a great answer, Dr. Zahrani, that there are misperceptions, but I'm going to return to this question after the break, that we need to dig deeper than that. misperceptions would mean that you should be able to resolve them, but they have persisted. And if we were to refer to WikiLeaks, not that I use them as a source, very hard postures have been maintained. Or in Syria we see really cold war is raging, bordering on the hot war. Come back to this. नाज़ी हमारे पास डॉक्टर ज़ारानी मौजूद हैं, ईरान से तशरीफ लाए हैं और अहम मामलात के ऊपर बात कर रहे हैं. स्टे ट्यून्ड. प्रोग्राम में खुशामदीद नाज़रीन. हमारे पास डॉक्टर ज़ारानी मौजूद हैं. ईरान के साथ ताल्लुकात पाकिस्तान के मौजू होगा, लेकिन अगर वक्त बचे तो फिलहाल तो दूसरे मामलात पर बात कर रहे हैं. सो टॉक अबाउट there's a battle going on, a diplomatic battle, and the two capitals do not like each other. That's how we see it sitting in Pakistan. Syria is a classic case in point. They are on the one side, you're on the other, and it's not just Syria. Regime after regime in the Middle East and the Persian Gulf would have that kind of problem. One faction backed by Iran, the other faction backed by Saudi Arabia. So it's a pretty wide-ranging battle that is going on.
That is a wrong assumption, that everywhere you see battle, you say one side is Saudi, the other side is Iran. That assumption is absolutely wrong. There are many factors involved. First of all, for Iran, the most important thing is that those elements in the region who have been fighting Israel on the ground, or at least politically or religiously, they are the first priority for us to support. So any element, let's say group, religious group, masjid, society, government, any who has been against Israel in last 30 years, he, she, or it has been #1 ally of Islamic Republic of Iran. I mean, our revolution. So if you see the role of Iran in Syria, is not because a specific person on this and that. It is because Syria has been on the front line in last 30 years fighting Israel. At least they have helped, they have supported. That is the case. So the Iran is supporting because its insistent positions against Israel.
Nothing to do with the fact that they are Alawites?
Not at all.
Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Iran has paid a lot of prices in last 30 years. All the pressure against our people, against our government, is because of our position against Israel. Assuming one day Iran say, okay, we change position a little bit, everything will be solved. Nothing will be a war of Alawite. You don't see any war between Iran and Saudi. You don't see any sanction, anything. Since Iran has fundamentally kept its position toward Israel, that's why you see all of this.
So what would
So look, the assumption should change. The assumption should not be any war you see is because Shia and Sunni, is because Saudi and Iran. Anyone, any factor, any country which is against Israel, that should be somehow labeled to change the context. The war between Islam and Israel is bringing and is taking the label of war between Shia and Sunni. That is not the case. It is the war between Islam and Israel and imperialism. Let's not change the context.
Okay, the context would definitely change if the Iranian interest in Bahrain wouldn't be as much as it looks to be. When the Shiites, according to the Saudi perspective, and we only read it, and that's why I'm referring to this, in Saudi Arabia, seem to have a transnational interest in engaging with Iran and vice versa. So it's not every group that is fighting against Israel that Iran supports. It's every group that Iran believes has an ideological affinity with Tehran that Iran supports. So it's not only anti-Israeli, it's also the expansion of this zone of influence.
No, that is not the case. First of all, you should accept. Either you accept democracy as a global concept, as a concept which has been globalized, or not. If you accept it, it means one man, one vote. So any country which you have the majority, that majority, their political culture, whatever is, that should be the prevailing culture in defining the government, in defining the political system, in defining their constitution. That's the principle, which I think everybody agrees with it. That's one point. Second point is that, okay, majority in Bahrain are Shia. So what? In Iraq they are Shia. Everywhere, every other places are Shia. In a belief system, they are Shia, we are Shia. We are together. We support them morally. But no one can prove that Iran has done anything materially. To say that, you know, we did this and that in that part of the world, I mean Bahrain. Vice versa. When you interfere militarily through tanks and all those things to not let the people have their rights, their vote, that is the mistake.
So would Bashar al-Assad be considered a very democratic person?
No, I'm not saying that.
So why is Iran supporting him?
I told you, Iran...
Only. So if somebody is anti...
I answered this. Syria, the main point is Israel. Iran is number one who has fought Israel. Anyone who is in this line against Israeli would be our number one ally.
Regardless of whether they are democratic or non-democratic.
That is, you know, the different case. But the point is, for sure, a dictatorship, a fully dictator, cannot be anti-Israel. That's my assumption. And if you talk about the type of regime, about dictatorship, there are so many other dictator governments in the region. Why all the pressure against Syria? Unless the factor of Israel also is involved here.
Okay, let's talk about that's a fascinating debate. Let's sort of take it further up. You talk about the biggest achievement of the Iranian revolution being that they defeated the American design of making sure that the revolution is rolled back. The revolution did not roll back, it rolled down from your point of view. Territorial integrity of Iran was preserved, again another success, and we can see that. But then you talk about also transnational interest that Iran has, whether it is anti-Israeli or pro-democracy. Anti-Israeli is more prominent because of the reason that you have enumerated. Why can't countries be allowed to just confine themselves to their own borders? Why talk about transnational ideologies? Why talk about having interests in other countries and what happens to their minorities?
First of all, I never mentioned transnational ideology.
Revolution itself, by definition.
That's your idea. Revolution
by definition is transnational.
This is a revolution of idea. Idea is something that you do not need to export it. An idea is something that you cannot stop it to come to your country, to your nation. It is idea. Idea has with itself value. The value is something that no one can stop it. If this value is based on fitra, innate nature of the people, this is the verses of Quran, فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا. As long as the idea is based on fitra, based on this verse of Quran, everybody will accept it.
So it's not Iran, it's basically the idea. It's basically the idea that is transnational.
It is not in my hand to stop it. It is not in your hand to stop it. It is not to other hand to export it. It is idea. Idea either stands with the innate nature and fitra of the people or not.
Okay. Towards the very end, talk about Afghanistan a bit. If it is at all possible to talk about Afghanistan in a short note, what will be happening in Afghanistan? Give us a forecast.
You know, in Afghanistan, like many other places, you know, the foreigners have intervened. At that time, the Russia, the Soviet Union, and now in recent years, Americans. So they have created a mess. And now they have to leave. They cannot stay anymore there. So it remains a mess. What type of a mess? What type of scenarios we will have? Whatever remains there, it is Iran and Pakistan, which they have to clean the mess that they have done. It's a difficulty for both of us. But down the road, they are our neighbor. Down the road, they are Muslim. Down the road, they are our brother. They are our sister. We have to work together, three of us.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Mustafa Zarani, for talking to us. Lots of questions remain, but perhaps we have to pen them for another sitting. नाज़रीन, हम डॉक्टर मुस्तफ़ा ज़रानी से बात कर रहे थे. एक पर्सपेक्टिव आपके सामने आया. मुझे यकीन है कि आपने इसके ऊपर रिफ्लेक्ट भी किया होगा. ये अहम बातें हैं. हमें इनको मानने की या रद्द करने की जरूरत नहीं है, सिर्फ इसके ऊपर सोचने की जरूरत है. इजाजत दीजिए. अल्लाह हाफिज.